Okay, you guys, what is up? The King of Lightning is here today to do Devil Survivor 2, the animation episode 7 review. So, of course, before I get started, look down in the description below for the link to this week's episode of Devil Survivor 2, the animation. And, of course, a little bit of a disclaimer, no Japanese company, corporation, or network has any claim to this video. This video follows the rules and guidelines provided and set by Google/YouTube. The thumbnail is an original photo, which belongs to no Japanese company, corporation, or network. The visuals are me. They do not own me. No. And the audio is me speaking over a soundtrack or a homemade soundtrack. They do not own my voice. Now, that being said, alright, listen, man. Yo, this week's episode of Devil Survivor 2, like, the most important part by leaps and bounds was the beginning. The beginning where we have Alcor coming in there. We see a new demon named Bifrons. I'm like, and this dude, he was just, yo, mad powerful. Just snap. Demons are getting annihilated on the spot. And then we learn about a few things here and there from the opening part. The middle part was not really that important at all, except for like one thing that's very obvious, and that's apparently, according to the nurse, Otomi, Nita likes Hibiki, which we already, I was on the way obvious, alright? And according to a flashback, and so that part was like whatever, right? But then one of the parts in the middle, we see Yamamoto, right? And Hotsuin Yamato. And the thing about that is that Yamato, apparently he actually got injured using Cerberus to the degree that he used it against the demon that they fought at Nagoya. And like he sees his phone's sparking, and then there's blood on his hand. I'm like, so I mean, maybe there's limitations to his power, because when Hibiki did the same thing when he fought against fucking Marek. Oh, again, awesome Marek. And he made Byako have the red lightning. He didn't suffer any injuries. I mean, he may have been tired, but he didn't suffer any injuries. But I think the same level of power that Yamato can generate caused him injury. So, like, the entire time, I'm seeing the character interaction between Alcor and Yamato, not only in flashback sense, but also in real time. It appears that Alcor no longer considers Yamato a shining one. I mean, well, in the anime transitions that I see online, they still use sparkling one. But I looked on the Wikia, and it says shining one. So I'm like, which one is it? I mean, whatever. Either way. And apparently, I mean, I'll get to it later, but apparently Alcor is the Anguished one. So, what that means fully, not too sure about. Moving on. Now, the thing here is that he has a flashback, like after he sees his hand, because Yamato is actually very confused about, how Hibiki is his quote-unquote friend according to the Nikaya app, and he sees the whole entire situation as very annoying, and the whole entire thing about the shining ones, he's like, it's annoying, it's confusing, but he's still maintaining his stoic attitude, which I think is actually a good thing. But I think one of the biggest changes in his character development and for the future of this series is when he starts to actually have feelings, or starts to experience, or starts to express emotions to these particular scenes and these particular instances where emotions are normal. And that is probably going to be a change in his character later on in the series. But that's my assumption. I could be wrong. Who knows? But the thing about this that's very... when it comes... Because they have a flashback. Because we've seen the flashback before of Alcor meeting Yamato when Yamato's a kid. But now Yamato is an adult. And he's about to leave the mansion forever. And then Alcor, he says something along the lines of, like, can you survive until the final day? Which we're assuming is, like, the last day of the assault of Septentorium. And then he says, the purge of Polaris is without mercy. And I'm like, what is the purge of Polaris? Like, is that the term that they use for this certain incident where we have Septentorium coming in there and, like, wiping out all of Japan? Like, is that what it's called? Like, the purge? of Polaris, because like that's what Alcor says. So I'm not too sure what that means entirely, but I believe that it's going to be very important, especially when they reach like the final day, when Septentorian is going to go like all out with like a very powerful demon. And listen, man, I'm going to say it right now, and this may be pushing it, but if the last demon they send is like something called Saiyan, okay, all right, now we're talking. I mean, hey, the last one was okay, and Merrick, Merrick, awesome. But I can jizz all day about Merrick, but the thing about it is that what we learned from the middle, what we learned from the beginning of the episode is that, so basically like the middle, that's the middle, right? So the middle is again those three things, right? Before I go any further, it's the whole entire Nita likes Hibiki, which is not important at all. Who cares? And it's the two things involving Yamato, Hoitsi. It's basically he apparently is injured from that uses of Cerberus against the third demon, and it kind of seems as if like Alcor doesn't consider him to be a shining one anymore. And then this thing called, according to the flashback, the Purge of Polaris, which again I believe is the actual terminology for what this incident is called. But I could be completely wrong. I could be so wrong, but I'm not too sure. But we'll find out later on as the series continues. And then the ending basically is we see Hibiki and the others go to their design locations for Wednesday for the assault, and it's going to be a trifecta. It's going to be one demon, and apparently like this one demon has like 3 simultaneous parts, and these parts are going to go to both Tokyo, Nagoya, and Osaka. And Hibiki's going to be in Osaka. We have Ronaldo and his boys, and a few of the Gyps members. They're going to still be at Nagoya. And then we have Yamamoto by himself in Tokyo. So it's like, okay, all right. So I mean, even though he got hurt, he's still a badass. He's still a badass. And it appears, according to Fumi's information, it appears that you need to hit this demon, or you need to hurt it simultaneously. Like, the one girl, Makoto, she said, yeah, but I'm assuming that is Professor Fumi who gave her the intel on that. And according to that intel, you need to damage all these 3 parts simultaneously, otherwise it won't die, because these things are connected by some weird space thing that they didn't really explain in full detail, which they will probably in the future, like in 2 episodes or so, one or 2 episodes or so. But so let me get back to the opening, because the opening is the best part of the episode by leaps and bounds. Because number 1, all right. So all that stuff over there, which I just explained, the ending was okay. Middle was somewhat okay, but okay plus more so, because the whole entire thing with Yamato and his certain situation involving Alcor and him being injured. But the opening is good for a lot of reasons. Number 1, B-Fronts. It was, again, B-Fronts, snapping fingers, fucking fire everywhere, slaying all these demons easily, very casually. And the thing about B-Fronts, and we see this other demon that we've seen before, like the same demon who I believe was the one who killed Keita. These demons apparently work for Alcor, and they don't work for Septentorium. But apparently Alcor doesn't have a phone. He has no Nikaya app. In fact, according to their first part, he made the Nikaya app to help the humans against Septentorium. So that's very important for a number of reasons. Number 1, he made the app, period, end of story. Number 2, he has a tie to human beings, and he wants to help them. So in this case, he's not really an antagonist at all. In fact, he seems to be, he's assisting the main cast. He's assisting the humans in their defense against Septentorium to save their world, or at least save Japan. And that's very important. And number 3, he has no ties to Septentorium, at least as far as we know. He's not working for them. He has no connection to them, aside from the fact that he gave the humans the Nikaya app, which is going to fight against Septentorium, which means that Septentorium is an unknown faction as to why they're doing what they're doing. But they're doing what they're doing because they want to wipe out all humans, period, end of story. So, or destroy the world or Japan. So, who they are and what they're doing and why they're doing it is still in the dark. But now we got a lot more from Alcor. But the thing about Alcor is that Alcor apparently doesn't know who he is in full, because Hibiki calls him a demon, And he's like, is that all you think? Well, actually, I'm not too sure myself. So it's kind of like, so what are you exactly, Alcor? Like, I'm assuming he's a demon, or he's somewhat related to demons, because he's not normal. I mean, according to the Yamato flashbacks, he's been the same age ever since Yamato was a child. So, like, he's not human. Either that, or he's like an ascended, like he's above humans, and he's immortal from what I gesture. Either he has eternal youth, or he's immortal. He has some kind of power where he has some kind of ability where he can disappear on the spot. I mean, I'm thinking he's a demon. I really do, but we're not too sure. He could be an angel. I don't fucking know. I have no idea. But it's just that, you know, as of right now, Alcor, he's really in the wind. And, yeah, he's really in the wind. So we're not too sure about Alcor as right now. But, no, okay, so number one. So let's go back. Number one. B-Frone's doing his thing. That was hot. Like, literally, that was, you know, fucking... He was just fucking up everybody with his candle. Number two, Alcor, very important. Very important. Because now we get an understanding about who he is. Even though he doesn't know who he himself is. We get an understanding of what his role is right now at the current time of the series. He made the app to help the humans out, despite the complaints from the other demon and B-Frogs, because those two, they don't care. They're like, why are we helping the humans out? Like, why? So there's a connection between, there's something about Alcor that we need to know, and we're gonna find out. But as of right now, he's probably a demon of high caliber, of very high caliber. And at some point he lost his memory, or I mean, that's something, because he appears to have amnesia, because he doesn't know who he is. So it's like, or what he is. It's like, so we're not too sure. But again, at the same time, he's smart enough to make a freaking phone app that summons demons. So it's very, like, we're not too sure about him. Like, he's a mystery. He's in the wind right now. Someone in the wind. Like, he's somewhat out of the bushes, but he's still in the bushes, you know? Like, we see, like, you know, like, you get my point. Alright, we know some things, but not all things that we need to know. So, and of course, the last thing is that he's not working for Septentorian. Period. End of story. He's not working for them. He's helping the humans out. So, in this retrospect, Septentorian are probably his own enemies. You know? So the enemy of my enemy is my friend. He appears to be against Septentorian, and the humans are also against Septentorian. So he helps out the humans who are against Septentorian. So again, yeah. So now we know. Now we know about that. That's a good thing. And the last thing I want to touch upon is during the first part. All right. Again, we see the whole entire exposition between Hotsuin, Yamato, Hibiki, Alcor. You know, it's like it's literally like three alpha predators like staring at each other. I mean, even though Hibiki's like some of a bitch, he's powerful as shit, and of course Alcor is obviously powerful, obviously. And Yamato, must I say any more? Must I say any more? But the thing about this, all right, that's very important, is that Yamato, he says to Hibiki that the next demons for Wednesday is going to be a trifecta, a trinity. And they're going to attack all of the main branches at once. Tokyo, Nagoya, and Osaka. Now, how do you know that? And then Alcor says, yeah, according to the Unbroken Covenant. What the fuck? A covenant? So, what's going on? Like, what covenant? What, like, a covenant? So it's like, what is going on here now? Because now, all of a sudden, it makes you wonder, wait a second. So, is there a connection between Hibiki? I mean, is there a connection between the Anguished one and Septentorian? Or, because there's no way Yamato knew about that unless Alcor told him. Or unless there was something that was relevant. Because there's something going on here. Because, yeah, there's something going on. I mean, like the fact that B-Frones and the other demons give off demon signatures, but they're not digital demons. That's also another question. That's because, you know, Makoto, when she was at the Gyp's base, I believe in Tokyo, and they were scanning Alcor and B-Frones I believe that they gave off demon signatures. So yeah, so I think Alcor is a demon. But the thing about it, probably. But the thing about it is that they're not digital demons. They're real demons. So it's like, what's going on here? And then this covenant is like, it's like, what's going on? So the covenant is a big question, all right? Because then that leads me to believe that there may be some tie between either Yamato and Septentorion, Alcor and Yamato with Septentorion, Alcor Septentorion, or maybe in general the Shining Ones. Maybe the goal is to kill. Maybe the goal of Septentorion is to kill the Shining Ones, because according to Alcor, the hope of humanity are the Shining Ones, or in this case, the Shining One. Because the way Alcor speaks, it appears that Hotsuin is no longer a Shining One in his mind, but Hibiki is. So again, a lot of questions. This episode, it brings up more questions than answers, but it still gives us a lot of answers. It does. So, overall, even though there was no real action at all, except for B-Phones doing his thing, we did get answers, which is a good thing. And even though we got a lot of questions, because of those answers, the questions right now are not a big deal up until the end of the incident, where we get to like the last few days when like the Septentorion actually, come in there with full force, and that'll be answered. So those questions will be answered at some point in time. That's obvious. And so overall, the ending was okay plus. The beginning was good, and the middle was okay. So overall, I'll give it an okay plus good rating for this week's episode of Devil Survivor 2, the animation. Because exposition-wise, even though some of the exposition in the middle was kind of like non-porn, like when they were getting their checkups and shit, that appears to be very irrelevant at this point in time. I mean, Fumi did mention something that may be key later on about how like they're just checking on us for some particular reason. We don't know why exactly. But Yamato probably fucking knows what's going on. Oh yeah, he knows. But in general, that exposition in the middle was irrelevant for the most part. But the beginning, good. The ending, okay plus. So yeah, I'll leave it at okay plus overall. So I'm done. King Lightning. Be sure, of course, rate, comment, and subscribe as always. Peace. Have a nice day.